Words matter, and the ones that you use at this particular part that we're talking about today will make or break you. What's up, FlowChat fam? Chris here, CEO and co-founder. I have one of the most unfortunate and embarrassing stories to share with you today. I have actually never told this story. I don't really want to tell this story, but it's going to be for your benefit, and we have a powerful guest on today that is a master of what I'm about to share. A time ago, I explained what I did, the baby that I built, the business I was so proud of. I explained to the best of my ability what I did. I thought I killed it. I was like, wow, this is amazing. And the response that I got, this is the short version of the story, the response that I got was, Chris, I'm going to recommend a book to you, and it's going to tell you how to share what you do with other people, which is essentially that person saying, that sucked, I'm very confused, and I feel bad for you, Chris. And this is the best way I know how to help you. Now, this is huge because I know I'm not alone in this. The words that we use, words are insanely powerful, and they're actually they're a tool that will help us and propel us forward to where we actually, the way that we see ourselves becoming, or they will continue to destroy us and hold us down. They change the very trajectory of life. And the guest today that I've had the fortunate experience of seeing him work in front of multiple audiences, large audiences, transform lives. You get to meet him today, and his name is Michael. Michael, how's it going?
Doing great, Chris. I remember vividly that moment. I looked at you and I remember saying that, and you gave me this response. And sometimes when you get that response from people, when you challenge them, you know something great's going to happen. And I know you've used it all the time, what I'm sharing with you now. So thanks for having me on. I'm super excited to be here.
Yes, I know. We're going to cover, everyone listening, watching, we're going to cover a couple things together today. The best one, of course, is going to be the second part. We're going to play a little game that Michael is pro at, where he's going to tear me apart on the spot. And he's going to sell.
I don't call the game, we're going to tear people apart, but literally it's like, how about I sell your shit better than you sell it, even though I have no idea what you do.
Exactly. This is the game. And here's why we're going to play this we're going to get to this game towards the end, is you're going to get to hear and experience that, and you'll be able to apply that in your own life. But before we get there, the first part, I want you to get to know Michael just a little bit more. He's the founder of the Human Communication Institute. The way that he uses language and interacts with people and helps other people interact with other people is life-changing. Michael, how do you become the master at this and create an institute? Where did your journey start with this?
Well, I've had it like a lot of people I've had my whole life. Like, let me ask you a quick question, Chris.
Yeah.
When did you learn sales?
When I was 24, that's when I think I started to learn sales.
Not true. Did you really learn sales, or you've always done sales, but at 24 you accepted you're going to do something with it?
That's the turning point of where it became an official quote career.
Were you selling when you were 8 years old to get your parents to buy you things?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. So I have literally always been obsessed with figuring out what makes people do things, what makes people powerful, how do great leaders do those presentations they do. And instead of like just being in awe, like I've had this weird genetic thing where like I'm impressed with people, but I'm not one of these people that is like, oh my God, I can't do that. It's like, got it, totally understand. I loved Metallica, I love the concert, but dude, if I applied myself, I got it. I could learn how to communicate like they did with the crowd. Maybe not play the music, maybe that's not my gift, maybe that's not my thing. Yet my whole life, I've really just been studying, and I've been excited about how words make an impact, how they impact people, how they make you do things. Like I would be at a store and like wondering like, well, why did they change that on the candy bar checking out? Or like, why is that place there? So I've been doing this most of my life. And it wasn't until I'm 45 this year, when I was about 21 years old, I came across neuro-linguistic programming, and I realized, wait a second, there's some people that study this stuff. Like there's words for this thing I've been playing with for years, in dating, playing with this stuff in relationships with friends, with stuff, and been on this journey for 20 something years right now, figuring out how to teach people the most powerful communication influence strategies on the planet, not just to sell, but to make their life work better.
And you mentioned this set of words, NLP. For everyone listening, watching, can you explain what that is?
So that's one of the tools that I use. So what that is the ability to use words to affect the nervous system of another person, because every single thing that we say, this is is where like that's just a little piece of the puzzle. Some people study NLP, they stop there. It's like some people learn how to grip a baseball bat, but they don't know how to swing it. Some
Mm,
people know how to swing it, but then they don't know how to run. Some people know how to run, but they don't know how to run to the next base. They're not paying attention. So it's a piece of the puzzle, but it's how the words we use impacts another person, not how they sound, not how grammatically correct they are, how they impact the psychology of ourselves and or another person. So it goes against everything we're taught in school in English, and it has everything to do with words to create effectiveness. And it's incredible. Like it's what drug do you want a person to drip in their brain at what time so you can get the results? Because my friends that do this, that work for other places, I like these guys. I'm friendly with them. I don't want to admit it sometimes, but they work for Facebook, they work for Instagram, they work for like Netflix. They're addiction experts, and they
yeah.
learned how to get your $12 a month, getting your brain to do a certain thing. Well, I use that same technique to get business owners to get people's attention, lower resistance, but more importantly, get that business owner to be the best version of themselves. So they really don't have to use sales techniques, and they're badass the way they live.
I mean, simple application of this is there's no shortage of information of how to eat healthy or like lack of access to gym or just go outside and run or do some sit-ups or push-ups or something. It's the ability to sell yourself on what you need to do and get yourself to do what you need to do. And so it sounds like that's what you're saying. Like you're really good at helping people break through those walls.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's as simple as this. And people tell me a lot of times, like, business is hard. And I say, not true. And it's amazing when you tell people not true, you really confuse people a lot of times because of, well, what do you mean not true? I don't believe it's hard. I don't believe it's hard because if it was hard, nobody would do it at all. I believe it's harder than you'd like it to be, adding an ER at the end, which is
Mm,
a motion word. And what most people don't recognize, by being able to change one word in a conversation, has the ability to change things. People say relationships are very, very difficult, and I'd say actually they're not difficult at all. What they are is they're different than the thing that you're doing. That's why they're not working. So by swapping out a one word,
mm.
same thing I do in infomercials. Well, I swatch out one word instead of like those of you that sell health and fitness. I mean, just I'm pretty sure women do not want to be shredded. They're not looking to be ripped. They're looking to look tone. Am I correct? Like most women want to be toned. So if you're like, oh, and you can get shredded with our product, very few
Huh?
women want to get shredded. They want to get toned. They don't want to look buff usually. Some do, most don't. Do you know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
what's
Yeah.
interesting is and they have a whole different reaction in life.
Yeah. Yeah. That's huge. Okay. Helping people understand what words they're using, switching out a couple keywords makes a huge difference. Now, we're primarily playing in this realm of sales at FlowChat. It's a sales tool.
I like
So
sales.
how does words that we're using, you mentioned earlier like this reduces tension or friction. Talk about that a little
Well,
more.
first off, why do we bother with sales? I think sales is a scary word. I think sales scares most people. And I think really we need to switch the word to influence. I mean, are we looking to sell
Mm.
people or influence them to make a different decision? Which do you think is more powerful, selling someone on something or influencing them to make a new decision? I'm just asking you right now.
Well, I mean, it 100% influencing someone to make a different decision.
Got it. So when you bring people on, say, listen, in the old ways, they call it sales. Here, what we do is we influence people to make a decision that they want to make already. And one of the ways we do it by using these very simple techniques. So I very simply, the words like workout and sales, a lot of times they have a negative connotation. It's a lot of hard work involved. Influence just sounds like this magical power we have. It's the same thing, yet a different result. So when you ask the question, how do we use it in sales? Is that what you're asking me?
Yes.
Okay. Give me an area of sales that you'd be talking about. Because sales is a
First
lot of things.
impression.
It's
First impression. Outreach.
where are we meeting? Are we meeting them at a networking event? Are we meeting them on Zoom? Are we meeting them at a bar? Are we meeting them at a seminar? Are we meeting them on an appointment? Is it preset? Tell me a little bit about this. And the reason I'm doing this is pay attention to what I'm doing, folks, is he's asking me a question that could go a multitude of directions. But if we want to create clarification, clarification comes in if we talk about a very specific moment in time. That's where I believe we can help people. So give me like, there's a guy named John, and John's going to this event. What would you recommend John does?
Yeah, let's go to a sales call on Zoom. Let's
Great.
start there.
Okay.
Yep.
So you want a sales call on Zoom. What are we selling?
We're selling a service.
Okay. What kind of service?
An NLP service.
Very good. Okay, we're selling. Okay, very good. So let me ask you a question, Chris. What is
Yeah.
the first thing that you do? So let's say we got on Zoom
Hmm.
and we booked an appointment to show up at 11 o'clock. It's 11 o'clock. We're both here. What is the first thing that you usually say at 11 o'clock? It's your
Okay, so
meeting. You set it up to
not on
sell
the
me.
call, just 11 o'clock. What
You,
do I usually?
you set it up to book with me. It's 11 o'clock. I show up. You show up. You let me into the Zoom. What are the first words out of your mouth?
Hey, Mike, great to see you today. I can't help but notice, what is that statue behind you that caught my attention right away?
I have two of them. Okay, great. So let me ask you this. How many times have you heard something similar to what just happened?
It's a great question. I'm not sure exactly.
Okay. So do most conversations start with, "Hey Chris, glad you're here. Pretty cool. You got that really really cool award behind you. That's awesome. Tell me about it." People do that regularly, or we've heard that before, correct?
True, it's fair.
Anytime we take someone to somewhere they've been before, their inability to have a new experience and do something different has already been cut probably 50% in half. So, for instance, hey, welcome today. I'm glad you're here. We've done the, hey, I'm glad you're here. We're going to learn a lot. Awesome. That reminds me of first grade, second grade, third grade, fourth grade, fifth grade, and every event I've been to. So, our job when you first start off a meeting is to really figure out how do we induce the greatest amount of value to this person. And where does value? Value means you can't live without me. Okay, so let's start over again, and I'm going to bring you to the meeting now, and I'm going to say, Chris, perfect timing. Now, why am I going to say perfect timing?
Makes me feel good.
Does it cost me much money to say perfect timing?
No.
Perfect timing. Hey, listen, before we get started talking about this, one thing I do want to say is I want to commend you in advance for even booking this appointment because very few business owners are willing to admit that what they're doing is getting them to one level and there's a whole nother level to play. So you should really be proud of yourself that you're looking for something to make you and your business better. Now, I'm pretty sure the sale's over. I'm pretty sure we're done. I'm pretty sure I just gave you A, the truth, and B, I just gave you what you have not got from your dad or your mom when you were a kid with abandonment issues we all have, or we didn't get told good job because we scored a goal when we were a kid. I just told you, I just built you up. I just went, and I just injected something called serotonin. What serotonin is the feeling you get when you made a good decision. Because what are we going to ask people to do, Chris, on a sales call, on an influence call? We want to get people to make a new what?
Decision.
Great. Awesome. So if I get you excited, oh my God, today is going to be great. Oh, it's going to be amazing. That's something called dopamine. It's a 45-minute Starbucks high. Got it?
Yep.
Second thing is scaring you is cortisol. It just scares you. And that's going to get you like maybe a 2-week worry session. But if I can get you proud of yourself, people that are proud have the courage to ask to make decisions and not have to ask 5 other people. That is one of the first things I would do.
So this is really powerful. You kind of alluded to this earlier, but I don't want to skip over. You made this comment. It's like, oh, whatever drug hit you're looking for. And it's like,
Yep.
I know now, I've got to watch you talk, and if you guys haven't, yeah, we'll talk a little bit more about the book. There you go in the back. Excellent book. We'll talk about it a little bit later. But so I've consumed some of the content. For everyone listening, watching, what do you mean by drugs?
Okay, so every one of us are drug dealers. We're dealing our own drugs to ourselves on a regular basis, or we're dealing other people drugs. And most people are giving people really low level narcotics because we have 4 very simple, like I could tell you there's like thousands of drugs we have in our bodies. There's all kinds of chemical compositions and testosterones and estrogen. And yes, men and women have both, right? Got it. We all have both inside of us at some level. But there's really 4 main drugs that we've got the ability to deliver at any given moment. One is dopamine, which is excitement, which is most salespeople do. And they don't realize that if you get a human being overly excited, they'll make a decision, but the excitement is guaranteed to wear off because dopamine is a 45-minute high that God or whatever you believe in gave us to get through the situation, to get through the day, to it's something that Vegas knows that you have, that they keep on stimulating and it gets you to drip. And this is why you're exhausted the next morning after a big night out, even if you don't drink, because your dopamine receptors just went through the roof.
Mm.
Cortisol is the feeling you get when you're in fear. Like, Chris, you ever had this question? Someone asks you, like, hey, dude, if you don't do this, what will happen? Or the fear of missing out, FOMO,
FOMO, yeah.
is cortisol. Cortisol is that feeling you get of fear, like you're worried about a decision you need to make, fire somebody. What if it's the wrong decision, right? That's cortisol. That usually can last about 2 weeks of worry. So here's what's
Hmm.
crazy. People aren't negative, Chris. Cortisol lasts longer. So cortisol is
Hmm.
not like people aren't really even scared or fearful, like, oh my God, Johnny's fearful or Johnny's negative. No, no, Johnny's not negative. Johnny is protecting himself, scaring himself about doing it so he can stay safe and comfortable in what he's doing in the little drug formation he's got. The third drug is serotonin. It's the feeling you get when you feel proud of yourself that you made a good decision. That is, a lot of people save that for the end. You need to get that at the beginning. So I teach real estate agents just to say, listen, the fact that you're doing this for your family, because it's true. It's not like we're lying. You're making someone
Yeah.
feel great. Why wouldn't you make someone feel great? Like I went to a comedy show the other day. My buddy Garrett, you don't know if you know Garrett Gunderson. He's awesome. Garrett was doing a comedy show here in town. He's a great financial guy doing a comedy show. And he said, Michael, I'm so excited. I told him I'd pick him up. He goes, dude, you are going to be the most exciting, best looking Uber driver. And we are going to find ways to make a ton of money on the drive to the venue. And I'm like, of course I'm picking your ass up, right? Like, thank you. Right? So serotonin makes you feel good, but this is the real click. This is what I watched you do with FlowChat. This is what's so exciting about what you do. You're a master of what's called oxytocin. It's building a connection amongst people and showing them a level of love and connection. Our buddy Dave is really great at this too.
Yeah.
He's a master of saying, dude, that's what we do. We need to meet and have one of our brainstorming sessions. Man, this guy matters to me. That's why I want to share him with you. It's like family. Oxytocin is the long lasting drug of connection. And
Hmm.
what's fascinating is Netflix has learned how to get you to like cortisol you, like you're scared to cancel it. You're scared to like forget about it. But they've got you like feeling like with all the ways that they show you the shows that you're going to like and the value they offer, they're kind of inducing a weird version of oxytocin. And what's crazy is my friends that work for the movies explain to me how they do this to you so they can get your extra $12 a month. So back to sales,
Yeah.
back to salespeople. On a very simple note, we need to hit the right drugs at the right time. And excitement is probably the lowest level drug you could ever offer anybody.
I love it. So that is crazy powerful. If you're listening, watching this, I'm assuming you're just taking notes because the way Michael communicates this and talks through it is really, really clear and powerful. And so, just to finish off this bullet point, in a sales call, we can go back and forth, but just for purpose of time, you mentioned, hey, there's a certain order to release the drug, so to speak. I think of one fun thing to do is just kind of, we'll give the bullet points. If you want to learn more from Michael, hey, you can check out michaelbernoff.com. It's also averagesucks.com. We'll reference a little bit later where he goes into more depth. But check this out. There's serotonin in the beginning of the call. Make them feel good. What are
Yep.
the, how many drugs are we releasing in a sales
Well,
call
the
in what order?
serotonin is to make them feel proud.
Proud.
They feel like they did the right thing being here.
Okay.
Keep
Feeling
going.
proud. Well, yeah, no, so we covered that one. So what would you say the next one is we need to
Well, the
release?
next thing after that is we need to then tell them like, listen, I need to open up a new pathway for you. So I just need to say like, listen, let me ask you a question, Chris. So let's say this meeting goes incredibly well. What does the next 20 minutes look like?
Okay. And then you go ahead.
Well, here's the question: is you have no answer to that, do you?
Yeah, I'm sorry. We're switching to role play. And go ahead.
So let me draw you a scenario.
Yeah.
And then what I'm doing is I'm getting you excited about possibilities, not excited about what I'm excited about. Do you notice
Yeah.
how you leaned into the screen? So I'd say, how much time are we working with? And they'll say, well, about 20 minutes. Okay. So if this thing goes perfectly, which I know it will, in the next 20 minutes, because you and I, we do things great. Who wouldn't say that, right? And then because we do things great. And then after 20 minutes, this goes great. What did that look like? What happened? And then they start getting involved with
Hmm.
you. That's where the relationship comes in. So then what we're doing is we're using the feeling of dopamine excitement at the same time as we're using connection, which is oxytocin. So we're building a loving relationship, which is what it should be. At the same time, we're getting excited. So it's really building a great marriage of ideas.
Got it. I love it. So we have that serotonin kind of moving to dopamine, and then there's at some level the oxytocin that's working, which is more that long-lasting relationship driving drug, we'll call it, or hormone, chemical, insert adjective. Um,
Yep.
That was really helpful. I know there's more depth to this, but hopefully that's at least a little taste, a little hit
Yep.
for everyone listening on the drug piece. All right, so for the second half, as promised, we're gonna play a little game, and this little
Ooh.
game is how do you say what you do? And words are powerful in framing it. So I'm definitely going to put myself out there. I'm gonna keep this as close to how it originally took place. And we're going to watch Michael. And just to be clear, we're selling FlowChat at this point,
Yep.
and Michael's going to sell FlowChat way better than I know how to sell it because he's a master of words. So, Michael, I'll let you lead the way. How do we start this off?
Yeah, so we'll take you back that day. I mean, this is what I do. I used to do this thing called I could sell a brown paper bag, and I literally sold a used brown paper bag in a room to people and $25 a month auto ship. And I'm not like this
That's
guy
awesome.
that says what you don't want, but I made the bag so valuable that people I explained that instead of selling a brown paper bag, it was an opportunity to. And the reason I'm doing this. I'm just setting the preface.
Yeah.
Is I would do this at the end of my HIT event, which is my NLP program, and I literally would go and say, listen, how many of you want to buy this? How many? And I rippled it up like this, and nobody want to buy it. I said, look, how many of you got kids? It's funny is our kids eat garbage, and the reason they eat garbage is it's easy and it's accessible and it's fun. But the problem is fruit's not fun. So we need the way to make fruit fun. And I made this whole concept that this brown bag, when used correctly, that you can keep in your pocket, that you could take to the store and you can use with your kids, and they could put apples and different things in it. And I explained this whole thing, and it reminds you to stay healthy, and you get it every month. And if you only eat 2 healthy meals a month, it was worth the $20. We made this brown paper bag so freaking valuable to somebody because that's really what it's about. We have to stop. And I said this to the whole room. No one is interested in your product but you. Everyone's got to get over that.
Fair.
Everyone's interested in themselves. Your product and everything it does doesn't mean shit to anybody other than you. So you've
Yeah.
got to be able to explain it in terms that people understand. So we're in this room. There's about 50 of us. Everyone's making lots of money. Great people. You've sold millions of dollars worth of your products. And then I said, so tell me, what do you do? And what's great is the way you explain it has made you millions of dollars. I want you to make billions of dollars, which means you got to
Mm.
sell it. So I said that. We handed around the mic. A couple of people went, and you're like, I'm Chris. I'm going to do great. So I hand you the microphone. Like, here you go. Here's the microphone. You grab it. And I say, so Chris, what does your company do?
Well, Michael, my company is a software company, and it's a sales tool used by sales professionals to get clients.
Okay. So what I said to you that day is, hey, never say that again. And it sounds
Yeah.
really good in a room full of people that like you, respect you, understand you, and are ready to do business with you because they've been around you a bunch of times. The challenge with the word software, the thing we like about it is software means that you don't have to be there. The other challenge of software is it's complicated, difficult, and you made it not understandable for people. So at the end of the day, your software is solves one of the biggest problems in business. Am I correct?
Yes.
Okay. The challenge is you want to talk about the software and what it does. I don't have any interest in what your software does. I have interest in what it will do for me and what it will solve in my life. So I would say we have a company that is dedicated, and I want you to think about this. And a couple of words that I'm going to use that are very important right now. We have a very powerful relationship-based company that works directly with our clients to do one very particular thing, to solve one of the biggest challenges in business. One of the biggest reasons why businesses fail is not just a lack of sales, it's a lack of motivated, consistent salespeople. And one of the challenges is that you can get a salesperson that can be consistent for a couple of weeks or a couple of months, but when they have to every day get up and grind, find out where they're going to talk to people, what's going to go on, they're doing way too many people's jobs. So, what our company has figured out how to do is we found a way to make all salespeople more effective. And what's really interesting is you don't even have to find the best salespeople in the world because we've got a tool that gets people half ready to buy your product in advance. So by the time anyone picks up the phone, the person's not only qualified, they're interested in what it is that you're doing. We have a whole automated process of doing this. So what's interesting about this is I don't want to talk about software. We need to talk about the benefit of the company. So let me ask you a question. Do you know the biggest reason why businesses fail?
Lack of sales.
They're people dependent.
Hmm.
And when businesses are people dependent, People have emotions and they go through good and bad days. And when they go through good and bad days, they're inconsistent. And inconsistency destroys your bottom line. So, what our company has figured out how to do is to create flow in your business, to create consistent results on a regular basis. So, you have the ability to talk to a similar type of prospect on a regular basis in a very specific type of conversation. So, your salespeople don't have to be as good. And what's amazing about it is it's hard to find great salespeople, but it's a lot easier to find good people that care about a product. So if you get a few people that care about what you do, we're going to put them in touch with the right people to talk to. How is that different than what you said?
It's focused on their needs. It's focused on solving their problem and what they care about, not the product or service.
Yes. So when I say this, do you know what the biggest problem in business is today? Everybody's
Yes.
going to look at me like, I want to know what it is. The biggest challenge in business today is people. It's hard to find good people to work with. And if you can't find good people, sales goes down. And when sales go down, it affects your bottom line. And the challenge is finding good salespeople that can initiate good conversations is harder and harder every day of the week because people are becoming more introverted. They're getting more on their phones, and these things are destroying the ability to find good salespeople because kids will be like this back and forth. What our company has figured out how to do is you need to have one conversation one time to learn from one person how to have that great conversation. And then that one time, how to share that with thousands of people over and over again. So an average person could handle those phone calls. Did I explain your company correctly at that point?
100%.
Okay.
One phrase that you use that we've been playing with internally. In fact, I just recorded like a new training, like tutorial demo thing, using the word relationship building system.
Yep.
You said it's a relationship buildings. So
It
you're,
is.
yep, yep,
Well, the other thing is, do you know where most businesses fail? Because the business owner has to can't take a break. And
yep.
when the business owner can't take a break, do you know what happens? They burn out and they destroy the business.
Hmm.
What our company allows you to do is to take a break and to build relationships while you're taking a nap
Yeah,
or
yeah.
going on vacation. There's never a time. See, customer neglect, I would say, is the number one downfall of all businesses.
Interesting.
And what we believe at FlowChat is it's never fair to neglect a customer because when you bring them in, you owe them a fulfilled promise. And how we fulfill our promises, we stay in contact with them and we found ways to keep them in front of your product, service, or opportunity on a regular basis. Because the second you stop staying in front of them, people, you know what happens? They start looking other places. Like in any relationship, when you feel neglect, you look somewhere else. Our job is to stop neglect so your clients stop looking other places.
Boom. Is anyone else getting this right now? This is why we wanted to surprise you guys with and bless you guys with getting to meet Michael. If you haven't already got to meet him, Michael, this is incredibly powerful. I really appreciate uh,
Thank you.
going through. I mean, you've now. I mean, that was like kind of the third round on FlowChat, and
Yep.
I know you've got more things coming up here. So, but I would just keep asking you questions, let you keep going rounds in FlowChat because I'm gonna go back and watch this recording.
But you got one word like neglect. Like you could have like what a sales letter that is. Like customer neglect is the number one downfall of all business, and it's costing you millions every year. Our business has literally learned how to put a cork in customer neglect so people stop looking other places. When you neglect your husband or wife, they have every reason to leave you. And when you neglect your customer, they should leave you too. Here's how to keep the relationship going without the hard work. In less than 3 hours, you can do 3 years worth of work and customer retention building, period, done, solved. And if that doesn't make you an extra 5 million, I don't know what will.
There'll be an affiliate link of Michael's in the description or somewhere around the thing. You can click now. It's so powerful, and everyone listening, watching this, they not only are hearing what you're saying, but I know that they can feel it too. What's powerful is everyone listening, watching, you can take the framework, right? He's
Yep.
talking about pretty universal things for companies that people, not businesses, that people desire and need within a business environment which is different. Michael, really appreciate it. Here, I'm going to share screen here just for a second. I promised that I would share this. AverageSucks.com. This is the book that we were showing earlier. It's a what was you used a really good phrase. It's a book meant to. It was written to. How do you say it?
It's written to be read. I mean, I have bad ADD, so like I wanted to write a book people would actually read.
Yeah,
I have had thousands and thousands of people call me and tell me they finished it, and which is a compliment because I usually buy books that I read 2 chapters. Like the only thing that'll piss you off about it is it's not about sales or influence. It's really about how to influence your own life. What really pisses people off sometimes when they read it, go, "Damn, I wish I would have known this when I was a kid." But at least you get to know
yeah.
now.
Yeah. Yes. And when we got to meet in person for the first time at an event that he was speaking at, there was copies out there, and I didn't tell you this. I took an extra copy and gave it to my co-founder, and he
Awesome.
also read it. And we recently went through call to action as well, which was very powerful. These are I'm saying jargon words for everyone listening, watching. Just know that there's more great stuff that will benefit you, your relationships, your business. That's why on Spotlight, we're focused on bringing real people that are getting real results today in the marketplace. This is michaelbernoff.com. There's a lot of resources on here. I won't go through them all today,
Yep.
newsletters, etc., podcasts. Michael's done a fantastic job of making himself and his work available to all.
It's,
Oh,
it's,
so
it's exciting. I love sharing, man. I love sharing, Chris. This is great today.
Here's one thing that I love. I'm really excited to ask this question for you. I'm going to give you a second to think about it. It's essentially, why do you do what you do? Here's why I ask this question. What fascinates me personally is somebody that creates a body of work. I don't care if they're an entertainer, actor, musician, entrepreneur, whatever it is, they're putting themselves out there. You and I both know it's a very vulnerable place. And it's a unique person that not only does that, but continues to do that, not just for 2 or 3 years, but in your case, almost 3 decades. The
Yep.
question is, what drives you? Why continue to put yourself out there the way you do year over year?
Well, I've had a couple of different reasons. It started off being necessary because I realized nobody else was teaching this, and I couldn't find anybody else teaching it like this. And the sales stuff's cute, folks. Please, when you learn how to quit habits, when you learn how to effectively be who you capable of being in your relationship, the real pains in life have nothing to do with business. It has to do with other stuff. But it started off as a necessity. When I had kids in 2020 hit, my reasons for doing this changed dramatically.
Mm,
I do not want to have a world where I'm going to die one day, where my kids, who are younger than me, obviously, right, do not have other people to have these form of conversations with. So I work with entrepreneurs to tell them how to live incredible lives. The Influence Academy, teaching them how to influence themselves and influence others. So I want a place where when I'm gone, my kids, my grandkids have other human beings that understand the language patterns of happiness, success, and fulfillment in life. So my kids have people to talk to, they have people to work with. So I figured if I could target entrepreneurs, work directly with them, teach them how to live great lives, not have ups and downs, get rid of the depressions, the anxieties, all that stuff, all the worries. Because at the end of the day, folks, if you could get rid of the worry in the sales call, it's easy to sell. That person's worried, they're concerned, they're worried about their boss, they're worried about their bottom line. So if we can learn how to live this incredible way, this upward trajectory, that's the power. So my original reason was it was necessary. Now my reason is it's ultra
mm,
necessary because um, every day the world is stripping this of people. And these freaking things, I own devicediet.com and Device Anonymous. I'm eventually going to take that as a 12-step group because this is a problem, right? These
yeah.
stupid things. And those are destroying people's ability to communicate. So we're going to find a group of people that learn how to communicate. And those companies, you just think about this right now, Chris. The largest companies in the world are all communication companies. Even Tesla is a communications company. No questions asked. I own one and I know it. We are sending data to Elon. So he knows how my car communicates with the road. Communications companies, Microsoft, Tesla, Apple, Facebook, these are all the biggest companies in the world. They're all communications companies. So he or she who communicates effectively gets what they want. So it's necessary to me. There's your answer.
Boom. I love it, Michael. Appreciate you spending time with our audience today.
Absolutely.
And hey, thank you everyone listening, watching. We'll see you back. We're going to continue bringing top notch entrepreneurs, like I said, that are getting real results in the marketplace today. This is the place to catch all that. Know this. know that being an entrepreneur can be lonely, but it doesn't have to be. This is the place where we get to rally together, be crazy together, and create the world that we actually want to live in. We'll see you guys next time.